Hey, what is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video to do my Bleach 1,000 Year Blood War episode 406, aka episode 40, English dub review. Alright, so this was the final episode of the season. Episode starts off with Haschwalth, who is confronting Uryū, claims that he sees everything ahead of time. Remember, he has Yhwach's powers because Yhwach is asleep. So he's got his power so he can see into the future. He knows what he's going to say. And then he basically says, Uryū, prove your worth to me and whatnot by attacking Ichigo. They start fighting a little bit. Ichigo still not convinced. Wants to keep fighting him, or wants to beat some sense into him. In the meantime, we got Yhwach in his, he's still asleep. We see all of the women Quincy's charging in for an attack. Doesn't go anywhere. They actually die in this episode. We've seen that later on. We then see Ryuko and Yukio, who are still in their the waiting room or whatever there. She's basically not saying anything, and he's saying, like, we're not going there and whatnot. Got to keep his promise, and also it would be pointless. And eventually they head down to the estate room there. Meanwhile, then we see Uryū, who is protecting her brother. Quincy ends up finding her, attacks, and then he, basically tries to say, is like, didn't you hear me that, your attacks won't work on me now? And she basically says, and she basically finishes the sentence for him, and does like another technique that can basically distracts him from being able to take her out. We see Chad no Hime with Ichigo, they eventually meet up with Ichigo, and we get to basically the truth of the matter. But before we get to that, I should mention, because I didn't mention it earlier, we did see a little bit of a flashback with Uryū, in basically the what he's seen in the book, and why they, what they thought of Yhwach, like his relatives thought of Yhwach, and, his grandfather, and what he believed in Yhwach, And he described him as a tyrant, um, and believed he was responsible for the death and inhumanes of Quincy's, to make himself be bigger, and and he feels that he's a threat to the world. Um, so this was all the big reveal of why um, it's now been basically revealed that Uryū is basically, was doing this all to get to take down Yubaba. Um, Ichigo basically wants to beat some sense in in Uryū, until they figure out, and then it finally reveals. He basically tells Ichigo, you need this, this red thing or whatever he has, can send him back to the other world, the human world, because he needs to be the one who takes out Yubaba, because it has his blood or whatever. He's like, well, why can't we just do that together? We can do it together. Um, Haschwalth basically butts into the conversation and basically says, I knew this was going to happen. I foreseen it. Um, and so obviously they Ichigo wants to take him out together, and he also, Hushwaltz basically says that they can't go to the world of living because he had taken it out from the Sun Key. So that there's no way, he had already destroyed the gates to the sun of the world of living, and so that red thing that was like called the Sun Key wouldn't work, as he foreseen the outcome. So Uryū then basically says to Ichigo to go take out Yubaba. Sends the others to Yubaba, and he'll stay behind to take him out. And which again, we've already seen the women Quincy's get taken out, so even sleeping doesn't really necessarily matter. But Uryū seems to be pretty confident in being able to change the fate of the future against him, despite what he has said. And so we then see that happening with the women getting taken out by Yubaba. But then after that, we see Urahime Chad and Ichigo approaching. Keep approaching, as that's how the episode ends. We see the credits. And then after that, we get like a weird, like, I think, like 7-8 minute segment of like one of the Quincy's just like mumbling about like things, and talks about some of the four generals from the 1,000-year war from before, when the Quincy's tried to attack the Soul Society 1,000 years ago. And I guess that was kind of interesting information to know who the four Quincy's were. But outside of that, there wasn't really. I mean, it was kind of a whatever. It was kind of a filler thing. They could have explained that within the episode itself, through flashback. Um, there was kind of a scene where all the Quincy women basically attacked him because he was talking too much. And then they just be like, oh, the producer said we have to keep time going. Like, they even mentioned that at the end. Well, there was like 14 seconds left, I guess. So Yeah, that was the end. That was the end credit scene. And that was the end of part 3. So I'm assuming there will be a part 4. Um, so yeah, that's how the episode ended. And overall, um, for what it's worth, I thought this was an okay season. There was a lot of some interesting spots. Some things that kind of were like not really put that well in explaining, but um, I did like kind of the direction where Uryū was kind of just swift on what he was doing. He knew what he wanted to do, so he had to kind of try to be like a double agent to try and get where he wanted to do to go to Yubaba, but it's kind of an interesting approach to begin with, because I mean he still was taking out a lot of people to do it, even if though he technically didn't actually kill anybody. He made sure not to kill anybody, but I mean if these people can see into the future and see what they're thinking, it's going to be kind of difficult to be a spy anyways at this point. But nonetheless, I thought this was interesting, an interesting approach overall. I did like this episode, with the exception of the pointless filler 8-minute segment that they did at the end there. The only information that was worth a damn in that was like kind of talking about the four generals from 1,000 years ago, but they could have easily mentioned that. They could have just had Yubaba mention that, like in a flashback or something. So it's not like that was something that they couldn't have done. But nonetheless, good episode. Comment, rate if you like this video, my reviews. Please subscribe. Hit the notification bell for all the latest content. Thank you. And that is about it, guys. I am the SS Ultimate Goku, and I'm out of here. Peace! Also, besides my YouTube channel, the SS Ultimate Goku, follow me on the Instagram, follow me on the Twitch. Also, I do a Discord link in the description where we discuss a lot of various topics, including this one here. Also, I do have a YouTube tier list, so make sure to check all that out with the perks. And now I'm out. Peace.